When I came to North Carolina in 1986, accessibility was better, accessibility to affordable housing, but the big concern was on housing quality. North Carolina led the country in the number of outdoor plumbing facilities, so outhouses.
Oh, wow.
And a great deal of concern. Governor on down, we need to do something about that. That was when DHIC, the local nonprofit, emerged. CASA, Habitat for Humanity, Rick Beach did his apostolic work, and it all began to change, and changed pretty rapidly over that period. What do you see as the big challenge facing Wake County right now when it comes to housing access?
The biggest challenge currently and in the past few years has just been the really rapid growth that this area is seeing. And the thing that comes with that is that housing costs are just outpacing wages. I think particularly since the pandemic, we saw nationwide a big shift in people kind of flocking to smaller, mid-sized cities. A lot of them in the Southeast and Raleigh really leading the pack among those communities, and just not having the infrastructure and the housing supply to absorb all those new people, right? And so your basic economics of supply and demand result in housing costs really escalating in a very rapid way. And kind of down the chain or down the stream from that, we've seen a huge increase in homelessness in our city. I think in the past 2 or 3 years, it's almost doubled. And that's all kind of coming back to that same root issue of affordability. And so I think that's what we're trying to really get out ahead of now. I mean, we're already kind of midway in the race, right? We're not right out ahead of it, but we still have an opportunity, I think, to catch up. What role have nonprofits, churches, and grassroots groups historically played in meeting housing needs?
I would say faith organizations have done a great job of raising awareness about affordable housing difficulties. Nonprofits have been the earliest to tackle some of the more complex financing packages. DHIC, when they did Murphy School, heaven knows, back in the early 90s, I think, that was the first time the State Housing Trust Fund had been combined with the federal tax credit. And again, it took a certain amount of bending and twisting, but DHIC was willing to put in the time and effort where maybe a for-profit wouldn't have that luxury. So they've done some really important work in that regard.
I feel like a lot of times, nonprofits are kind of viewed as less sophisticated, right, than maybe a private developer, but you're 100% right. They are scrappy and willing to figure out really complex financing and complex fundraising and do work that a lot of others would pass by because it's too complicated. So Habitat Wake is celebrating 40 years in Wake County. How have you seen the organization grow and impact our local community over those years?
It has been amazing, and it's a tribute to the staff of Wake Habitat that they've reached the level of accomplishment, excellence, sophistication that they're at.
Yeah, I think Habitat, even when I was in AmeriCorps 11 years ago, I don't know, it was a long time. Even at that time, Habitat Wake really stood out, and North Carolina as a whole actually really stood out in the country for the number of Habitat affiliates and the amount of work that our state was doing. And I think Wake was really leading the way at that time. And now, over a decade later, it's even more remarkable.
Habitat is one of the few organizations of its type nationally that has a robust advocacy effort. Most habitats are just involved in producing single-family homes, but Wake Habitat, for a long while, has adopted the philosophy that we want a suitable home and living environment for every citizen, regardless of the shape it takes. So Habitat has an advocacy staff, and they have recruited people of goodwill, advocacy ambassadors, probably upwards of 100 now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big group.
Okay.
And they're provided with information about housing needs and about solutions that are possible to address those needs, and then what it takes to fund those solutions or implement those solutions. And so they were provided with opportunities to engage with both the elected officials and appointed officials that control some of the resources for those solutions. Mm-hmm. So making a phone call, writing a letter, texting, maybe even calling, all those ways that people engage with elected and appointed officials, that's what they're pointed toward. So in thinking about housing solutions, tell me what is meant by a housing continuum.
Yeah, so the housing continuum is really just all about creating housing choice and access, like you were just saying, right? So making sure that in our community we have a wide variety and diversity of housing types and price points that are accessible to people no matter your income or your situation in life or your preference for what kind of housing you want to live in.
Yeah, terrific. And what's the city doing at kind of different points on the continuum? And I assume as we get to the lower wealth end of the continuum, there are some bigger challenges, different challenges. Just say a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, we are doing a lot of investing into rental development, creating access to units for folks who are at the very lower end of the income spectrum to be able to afford a rental apartment, all the way up to homeownership opportunities for first-time home buyers, and really everything in between. It goes a lot further than just the kind of direct housing and community development work. There's been a lot of work by the city in recent years to try to open up land use possibilities and unlock options for developing different types of housing, more duplexes, triplexes, accessory dwelling units, and things like that, to just add more options and more supply to the housing stock, because we see that in a place like Raleigh that is really fast growing now, really one of the core issues for housing access and affordability is just that supply factor, having enough housing supply out there to keep up with the demand.
You know, what are your personal hopes for the next 5 to 10 years in affordable housing? What do you really want to see done?
Yeah, I mean, I think the end goal is having a community that is vibrant and healthy and welcoming and safe for everyone, right? And that means having housing that is accessible and affordable and meets the needs and preferences of all of the people currently in our community and all the people who will move to our community. And I think, you know, the way that we get there is through that intentionality, through the investment tools that we know work, just continuing to focus on increasing affordable housing supply, improving the overall affordability of the market, and I think also just being a lot more intentional in addressing the issue of homelessness head on, trying to end and prevent it in our community.
I think it's important for people to realize we know how to do this. When I say we, I think professionals in the affordable housing sector know how to produce quality housing solutions in an efficient way that can meet the needs of a variety of households. Sometimes I think people believe, well, there's an idea out there that we need to hatch that is going to solve this without, you know, as much work and without as much money. We know what it takes. We know what it requires. People know what to do. It's just a matter of having the right level of investment and the right commitment from all the local folks to get things done. So
yeah, that's such a good point. I think you know, there's a lot of focus on innovation, and not to say that there aren't spaces where there could be more innovation happening, but that bottom line is 100% true, that we know how to do it. It's a matter of investment